Good morning and welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or one of the 50% of the people watching this video that are not subscribed already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, and most importantly, if you would like to join the debate, with the page you are currently watching on mute, simply click on the link below this video to join the debate and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please do not swear. If you do swear, you will be ejected. Number 2, if you are ejected, please do not try to rejoin the show using sock accounts. You will be warmly welcome back on the next stream. With that, I'm going to transition across to my photograph so I can share the show on Facebook, Skype and Twitter, and I would encourage anybody who is currently in the live audience to please do the same. Please share the show on social media. Once more, if you are new to the channel or not subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Good morning to the Rig, who says, yo Nathan, yo to you too, Rig. Vinegar Strokes, good to have you here. Nichio Snows, nice to see you. Archimedean Eye, thanks for being here. I will come back and do a few more shout outs once I've shared the show, which I'm going to do now. Please share the show if you're in the live stream. So I've just finished sharing the show on Skype, Facebook and Twitter, and once more I would encourage anybody who is in the live stream at present to please also share the show. I'm going to run through my links once more, and then if I'm joined by a guest I will introduce them, or you may hear from me one more time to go through the exact same information again. So if you are new to this channel, or you're one of the 50% of the people watching this that are not subscribed already, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a link to Super Chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. And if you would like to... Join the debate. Most importantly, there is a link below this video. Simply click on that link with the page you are currently watching on mute to join the show and express your views on the shape of the earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected. And number 2, if you are ejected, please do not try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You will be warmly welcome back on the next stream. So with that, I'm going to transition back to my photographs, and as I say, you may hear from me one more time to go through the exact same information or introduce our first guest. Bill G, nice to see you. Jovan Trendmaker, thanks for being in our chat. Very pleased to have you here. Also was WOZ. Says not morning, bedtime with a big smiley face. Have a good sleep, was. Thanks for coming. If one of you from the chat can just click on the link in the info box just to check that it does actually work. Oh, it's not there. That could be why we've not got any guests. We stick it into the chat room in case there was anybody that does want to join immediately. Get it pasted into the live control room. I did do this already, by the way. I'm not an idiot. It's there in the live chat room, but it's not on the actual Hangout on my iPad. Weird. Paste it in again. All changes are being saved. All changes have been saved. Let's have a look, see if it's there. Yes, it is. So yes, once more, if somebody in the chat could just click on that link just to check that the Hangout does actually function as it should, that'd be very much appreciated. Nawaf Mubarak. I'm pleased to have you here. Great name. Good morning from the UK, Everett Anderson. Good to have you here. Jamie Woodstock, good to have you here. I don't know if I've said hello to you already, I don't think so. Mercury Messenger 7 says, how is Flat Earth even a thing in this day and age? 23 space agencies and they all lie. Yes, absolutely correct. They are all telling you the Earth is a sphere. Jared Clutterbuck? Clutterbuck? Clutterbuck. Jared Clutterbuck. Thanks for being here. Pleased to have you. Christian Matemu, good to have you here. Pleased to see you. These morning sessions do take a little bit longer to get going, I won't lie. I may run through my links once more in a moment. Maybe I won't be running through my links. We've been joined by our first guest. Very pleased to have you here, my friend.
Hello.
Jamie, who is it? Howard, just saying hello, I think. Jamie just joined to check the link worked. Thank you very much, Jamie. Much obliged. I assume that was Jamie Woodstock. Well, at least I know the Hangout works. We'll just run through my links one more time as we've been running nearly 15 minutes and we don't have a guest yet. So, if you are new to this channel, or you are one of the 50% of the people watching this that are not subscribed, click on that subscribe button and the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a link to Super Chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. And most importantly, if you would like to join the debate as Jamie just did, but to express your views on the shape of the Earth, simply click on the link below this video with the page you are currently watching on mute. There are only a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please do not swear. And number 2, if you do swear and are ejected, please do not try to rejoin using sock accounts. You will be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Once more, if you've not already, please share this show on Facebook, Skype and Twitter. And hopefully the next time you hear from me, I'll be introducing our first guest. Mercury Messenger 7 says, anyone can book a cruise on an Antarctic cruise line to Antarctica during the Antarctic summer. Oh heck, you can even apply for a job in Antarctica for 6 months out of the year. That's very interesting, Mercury Messenger 7. I interviewed somebody who spent 18 months down there and denied that there was any 24-hour sun going on. And he was actually on Antarctica, not just passing by in a cruise. So feel free to check out my interview with Robert Shortman. Name of the video is Confessions of an Antarctic Plumber. Jamie Woodstock says, can't get on at the moment, Nathan, we'll try soon. Was it you who just joined a second ago? Were you just checking the link worked, Jamie? I assume it was you. But thank you very much either way. Hopefully I will see you later. Actually, while I'm on my own and I've got no guests who express their views on the shape of the Earth, I'm going to say a huge thank you, because the amount of people who share this show, I do nag them in the chat most of the time to share it, but they do it. They share the show and it gets popular as a result of people sharing it. So a massive thank you to all of the people who share this show when it's running live. I really do appreciate it, and I'm not just saying that. I'm very grateful to all the people who do actually share the show. It's 2 clicks to get it on Facebook for your audience or your friends and family or your social media circle. So yeah, thanks to all who share the show. I really do appreciate it. So one of the questions in the chat is, why so early? Well, it's 11 a.m. here, which isn't particularly early for me, but it's kind of at the opposite end of the scale for people on the other side of the plane. You know, there's going to be people who are into the 11 p.m. one, and there's going to be people who are into the 11 a.m. one. It's as simple as that. Typically, after 49 of these streams, the evening one is more popular. I'm not going to lie. But it's easy. You know, I'm sat with my kid now. I've just fed her breakfast. She's nice and calm. I can sit here like I would be anyway doing this show. The morning one, that is. The evening one, not so much. But certainly this show is dead easy for me to do. Yes, there's obviously a lot of work once guests arrive, but to get it up and running and chat to you guys in the chat is easy. So why not? Plus it means that people in Oz or wherever else is currently under the sun can join the hangout without having to be up at 3 in the morning. Irvin says, Nathan keeps it G. I've no idea what keeping it G means. Sage Simpson Roberts, good to see you. Exactly, so Sage, Simpson Roberts says, this is way better time here. It's 10:15 p.m. instead of 4:35 a.m. Exactly. You do get very different types of guests on the different shows. Sometimes you don't, but on the whole, it's a different group of people. Comedian I, did I say hello to you? I think I did already. Did you actually all share the show? I know there's only about 6 or 7 of you chatting. 40 people watching. Yeah, you must have done. Surprised we haven't got a guest already. 20 minutes of streaming, 40 people in the live chat, nobody on the show. Amazing. Not quite the longest we've gone without a guest, I'm not going to lie, so I'm not worried just yet. Oh, gangster. Nathan keeps it gangster. Hardly. I'm definitely not a gangster. Although we did meet the wife of a gangster at the Leamington Spa meetup. Marilyn Wisby, author of Gangster's Mole. He definitely was affiliated with gangsters. He says, I helped you get to 150 viewers. Thank you very much, Joven. I don't know if you heard me say earlier. I really appreciate you sharing the show, and I mean it sincerely. Hello to John Watson. Good to have you here, John. So ballers are staying away. Have you heard Mike Pence's speech about going back to the moon for further explanation and mining resources of the moon? Well, no, I don't. I haven't heard it because I don't watch TV and don't really pay a great deal of attention to the media. I'm not exactly Mr. Current Affairs. However, they've been saying that for years. You know, it's the equivalent of them saying about Mars. You know, they've been finding they've been finding water on Mars. You know, ever since I can remember watching stuff on TV. And they just forget about the last time they found it and find it again for all the kids who are watching this time around. Men have never been to the moon. It's nonsense. All filmed on a set. As far as I'm concerned, they're never going there. Fep, good to see you. Who had a Freudian slip? Fep, you or me? If it is me, let me know so I can laugh at myself. Exactly. We were discussing this the other day, the potatoes, if you want to call us that. So every few weeks they come out with a new mission, then it's conveniently forgotten. Correct. Exactly that. So the most recent one, which may or may get discussed, I'm pretty sure that Elon Musk, at the end of 2016, claimed that he would have a day tripper or something like that going out to space in 2017. Well, here we are, 5th of December. No sign. Completely forgotten about. Hello, Elon Musk, where's our day trips? I will get told about them in 2018, ready for 2019, of course. Fep claims to be the blackest bird in the Arctic. See, he's got like a minstrel type penguin. It looks like a blacked up penguin. So the FE is planning on a fight with Virgin Galactic next year. Well, I don't know about planning a fight, but I'm just pointing out that they claimed they were gonna have something going out in 2017, and it's being completely forgotten about, as John Watson was pointing out. And I'm guilty of it too. You know, I can't remember the details of it. You know, it's not even a full year ago that this was mentioned, and I can't remember the full details. The only bits I can remember is space travel, Elon Musk, and 2017. Time does really fly, Joven. Exactly. Jamie Woodstock says, Richard Branson did it. And that was completely forgotten. Correct. They just recycle it. Most people lose interest in space by the time they get into their, into their 20s, maybe even sooner. So they're not paying attention to it. So for the non-NASA fanboys, they go out, they get themselves a job. They've been watching, for me, it was Richard Branson, And you think, yeah, that'll come eventually. Hello to Fanny Lancer. Hello to fake Tim Osman. Pleased to have you both here. If man could get into space, then the Brits would have got there first. Maybe, John. Maybe. Citizen Z, pleased to see you here. Says flat. Yep, I agree. Certainly from what I can see of it. Nice haircut, Nate. Thanks. Got the haircut because I went down to London a couple of days ago to Vice Media Studios in London. I had to look a bit respectable for them. Fanny Lance says, yeah, because the Brits travel everywhere trying to make shit theirs. Steve Anthony, good to have you. Steve Anthony, who is not a flat earther, says, it looks flat. Steve Anthony knows both sides of the arguments. He does know that it does indeed look flat to both sides of the argument, and beyond that we have to take the word of space agencies. Chess, pleased to see you. Fanny Lance says, the sun never sets on the British Empire. Chess was first, just so you all know. Of course I know you, Stevie. Steve Anthony is extremely entertaining. Love having you on the panel, my friend. Was says, flat disk doesn't work. Well, flat disk, I assume you're referring to the nonsense put out there by the Flat Earth Society, where they have a flat disk floating through space because they need to retain the idea that we are in a vast, infinite, expanding soup of nothingness. But in their model of the flat Earth, they have that flat disk floating up through that vast expanse of nothingness, giving them gravity, which I don't think any flat earther I know subscribes to that idea at all, even though it's easily the first thing you come across when you Google it. Hello, Rory's Legs. Pleased to see you. Infinite Sloppy Second Society says hello, Nathan. Some great troll names today. Do you find that one funny too, my love? On what channel will we celebrate Christmas? I still celebrate Christmas. I'm not a Christian, but we've got a tree up. My kid was absolutely mesmerised by it. It was adorable. I am Face, pleased to see you. This is now bordering on the longest period of time without a guest on the debate. Typically, I'd normally have said by now, but yeah, this is the opportunity for anybody who wants to get in and express their views without being challenged, as there's no one here. Like I'm doing. Talking about space being fake, talking about NASA not going to the moon. No one's here to tell me off. It's wonderful. Don't talk about fake Christmas in front of your kids. I will absolutely talk about fake Christmas. As she gets to a greater degree of understanding with her surroundings, I will explain that it's make-believe. And I'm not going to deny a Santa. I'll just explain I don't know how I'll word it. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, but we'll say we pretend that Santa comes down the chimney. And as we live in a apartment and don't have a chimney, it'll be easy to explain that we are pretending. Cat's eyes. Expletive deleted. Pleased to have you here. Frank Black asks, why do white people smell of mayonnaise? It's because typically white people or Western people tend to have a more dairy-based diet. So if you go out to Japan, people smell of fish. Because they have a mostly fish-based diet, surprisingly. Yeah, when I was out in the Far East, they'd tell me that I'd smell like rotten eggs. You think, oh, thanks. That's nice. Good to see you, A4. Nobody's joined so far. We have had somebody test that the Hangout does work, A4, so we have had one guest say hello. Frank Black says gross. Yes, people are gross. People eat food and it smells. I Am Face says mayo is dairy. Yes, I Am Face. Mayo is definitely dairy. Been joined by A4. Pleased to have you here, Adam.
Howdy, Nathan.
Howdy to you too. Let's transition so people can see.
You repeated. I heard myself.
I don't know if you've got your watch page on.
No, that was you. I didn't repeat. You did.
Say that again.
You repeated. I didn't repeat. I don't have the watch page open because I'm on a phone.
Oh, I see. When both mics are open, you might get a tiny bit of feedback from my speaker, but there's a gate on it, so after about a second of me shutting up, you shouldn't get it anymore.
All good, brother. All good. I heard you saying something about you're going to tell your child at a young age that Santa Claus doesn't exist.
Not that he doesn't exist, but that it's pretend.
That is pretend.
Yeah.
Are you going to try and explain the story and where it actually come from? Like
Probably when she's even more older, when she's sort of 6 or 7, maybe, yes.
Okay. I seen a video on Facebook earlier today about I'm not too sure what it is, if it was a religious person or not. It was an old man, and he went into a shopping centre where they have them Santa Clauses that people go up to and take photos with and whatnot. And the guy was going up to the children that were lining up to go sit on Santa's lap, and he was telling them that Santa doesn't, that's not the real Santa and Santa doesn't exist and whatnot. Do you believe in that? Do you believe in other people going around telling other people's children?
No, that's an outrage.
Do you think that?
Not at all.
Okay.
Somebody's just joined and left, so
you're
going to get sniped, Adam. Whoever's just joined is now in the back chat and will probably try and snipe you.
Okay.
I think Adam may have been sniped already. Yep, what a shock. Good to see you there, Ohio. Thanks for being here. Horse wearing people costume. My apologies. Good to see you. No, A4 is not unsnipeable. Normally it'd just be, it might have been in the back chat quicker, but I don't think he was anticipating coming in and immediately having somebody come in and try and snipe him out. John Watson says, Baller's still sulking over angular size, lol. What's wrong, little chicken? You've got a bucket on your head. You want Daddy to take the bucket off? Come here. Raven says, who sniped you? Was it P. Mars? I get a bit tired of people blaming P. Mars for everything. I've got to be honest. P. Mars is not responsible for everything. And as much as I hate to say this, hi, Auntie Smetty. Good to see you. As much as I hate to say this, the same applies to Tim Osman. You know, they do get themselves a, yes, it was nice chatting to you, A4. Sorry you got sniped. Whoever's there is now in the back chat, so this may be 2 hours of just me getting sniped with every single guest that comes in, but so be it. If that's our show, that's our show. But yeah, same goes for Tim Osman, the one with the double S, not the Z. He's not responsible for sniping absolutely every hangout. He's not responsible for every single porn bombing. And this is coming from me, who has been porn bombed by Tim Osman. But that's not to say that he's guilty of every single time someone gets porn bombed. Simple fact that he confessed to the time that he porn bombed me is enough for me to think that he does it because he wants people to know he's doing it. So why would he do it anonymously? But there we go. People just say, well, he's admitted to doing some porn bombing, therefore he's responsible for all porn bombing. It's like, no. What a load of rubbish. Same goes for P. Mars. He said, after having a dispute with Anthony Riley, right, I'm going to snipe every single one of your hangouts because I kicked him for swearing. And as I say at the beginning of all these shows, you will be welcome back on the next show. Please don't pull the Christmas tree over. Don't pull the Christmas tree over. You know you're doing something naughty, don't you? Yes, you do. P. Mars is not a dickhead. P. Mars is actually a very good guy if you get to know him off air. Pleased to have you here, Mr. B. So if it wasn't for P. Mars, and I'm sure I've said this before, I wouldn't have this show. So this show is you know, largely down to the fact that P. Mars helped me get it going because I couldn't do it on my own. I didn't know how. So I called him. It was probably 8 a.m. in the morning for him. After about a couple of hours of me faffing and struggling to get something to work, I got him out of bed and said, P, I need your help. I can't get this to work. What am I doing? And he explained it. Took his time, got it working, was very patient with me. So, you know, I'm going to say a big shout out to P. Mars. Thank you very much, P. Mars. I am very grateful to him. Problem is we're dealing with people's personas, not their personalities. So in some instances, people will try and keep their persona relatively close to their personality. Oh dear. You okay? Don't go under the Christmas tree. But yeah, persona and personality are different things, and unfortunately P. Mars's online persona isn't the best. You know, he's not a great guy when he's talking online. You'll have to excuse my kid banging in the background. So my question was, do you agree with random people telling children that aren't their own that Santa or other fairy tale beliefs are not real and are make-believe? No, I don't believe in that. I don't think you should accost people randomly in a shopping centre and say, you do realise Santa's not real. That wouldn't be my place to do so. The same applies with, you know, members of my family. So I wouldn't dream of telling my niece or nephew that their parents are lying to them, which is essentially what you're doing. That's not my place to do so. But with my kid, you know, we're still going to explain what Santa Claus isn't. You know, he isn't a genuinely fat guy coming down the chimney. But like when you play any fantasy game with a kid, you explain to them that it's not real. We pretend this teddy bear is talking to you. The teddy bear isn't actually real. Frank Black says, you're a terrible parent, Nathan Oakley. Not at all. Spent all afternoon yesterday putting Christmas decorations up. My kid absolutely loved it, so she's not going to be deprived of any of Christmas. She's still getting Christmas presents. And we will explain where the origins of the story come from. You got it, Fet Fet. Coca-Cola Christmas. That's what my kid will get. She will get the Coca-Cola Christmas. I'm not going to go all Jehovah's Witness on her and deprive her of that. Ninja Man, pleased to see you. I knew you were going there, Adam. Would you agree that telling them the ball is make-believe is a similar concept, Nathan? It's a very good question, Adam. I like where you're going with it. I think telling people that the ball is fake is very similar to telling, you know, an 8 or 9-year-old child that Santa Claus is fake. Essentially, that instead of their parents, it's Big Daddy Government that's been lying to them. John Watson says Christmas is a capitalist exploitation, of the working class. Yeah, I used to know loads of people, not anymore, but I used to know people that would go into huge sums of debt that just didn't have the money for Christmas, and they weren't earning enough to be spending thousands of pounds. Parents would go into debt to get them, and then after Christmas, you'd have the parents extremely depressed because the kids have got their presents, they've got bored with them within about... Hi Tony, how you doing? Got bored with them within about, I don't know, an hour of playing with them, and the parents are still stuck with huge levels of debt. Hi Ron Burgundy, good to see you. A4 says, but do you agree that children should know, or do you think they will find out eventually and the indoctrination in schools will not affect them later on seeing the truth? Well, I just don't want to lie to my kid. That's my feelings on this particular subject. I can see obviously where you're going with this and the relation between the massive deception of the heliocentric system. But I do think that, you know, it creates a certain amount of resentment. If you literally lie to your kid about what's going on with Santa, it sets them up to be lied to about other things. So I just don't want that. Do you have sound? Yeah, we do have sound. Just refresh was if you're not hearing anything. Yes, I definitely said hello. Anti-Semite? The firmament isn't fake. You say so? We live in a simulation and things can change and you're left with this vague memory of something being the way it was and not anymore. You know, that notion of the Mandela effect is complete nonsense. The fact that the media literally change things on a daily basis and people don't notice and then remember the old way it was is standard practice in the media. But it's not some amazing simulated effect that we are experiencing. That's just not the case. C-3PO's leg was always a different colour to his other leg. He had a gold and a silver leg. That was always the case. So stream is going offline briefly. If it's your end, just need to lower the resolution on your stream. Ow! What are you doing? Don't force that into my face. Yeah, just lower your resolution if you've got a choppy stream, because at this end it is perfect. There's literally 0 drop frames. and the connection's perfect. I've got all my little gauges telling me if anything's going wrong. I do notice pretty quickly, but it's not. So if it's choppy your end, it's because you can't cope with the high resolution that's being outputted. So just lower it to 420 or 720 or whatever it is. Come away from there, please. No one here, so my mic has to stay open so you can hear the child corrections that I'm giving my kid occasionally. No, don't touch the stereo. No, don't end my live stream. Normally all this rubbish is off air. Stream is dropping. This would be a good time to tell you, Nathan. It's you, not me. Okay, well, as you've said it twice, I'll check on the iPad. "32 thumbs down. Definitely being attacked by trolls. Love it." Right, let's turn the volume up. Stream is perfect. Auntie Semite says, "It's you, Nathan. You're incompetent." I don't think so. I think I know what I'm doing. Nearly 50 shows in. I'm pretty sure I've got it down by now. It's not fair. It's not fair than I got... That, I think it means... Yeah, it's not fair that I got sniped. No, it's not fair. I don't think it's necessary to stream in 4K, Anthony. So for all the people that are saying, "Oh no, it's not good, it's choppy," well, it would be 10 times worse if if 90% of the people were getting a choppy feed because I was trying to output 4K. If all the streams have been choppy, then they'd be choppy on the replays. They're not. And I've just checked the live feed on my iPad. It is perfect. It is your end. My account is the dark blue account. The aqua account is a sock impersonation account. I'm colourblind, A4. I cannot tell the difference. They both look the same. I assume the one that's typed... Oh yes, okay, they are a slightly different shade. So, correct me if I'm wrong, the one that's just said, "They cloned my account," the guy that just claimed his account was cloned is actually the clone, correct? JJ, pleased to see you. What is your opinion of the Riley bet thing? Don't know, don't bet, never have, not interested. Don't make bets. Made for compelling viewing, though. That's all I'm interested in. Seeing them debate about the issue, because it was a specific bet, meant that the details of the bet got really hashed out, and that was good, because it was specifically about eclipses, and that's directly related to the subject at hand, so I was very pleased that the subject got discussed in great detail. Whether or not someone owes someone money, I couldn't care less. Because I'm ignoring Joven and the other trolls. They're impersonating me. Yep. Maybe you could jump back on your other account and snipe the guy who's in the back chat with that black page. As it stands, it looks like nobody wants to get sniped. It's not like you're actually going to get shot in the head. Run him over at least 4 or 5 times. What are you talking about, Fanny? Sounds scary. A4 says, what can you do though? Haters are going to hate. Seems like they're all fans and have dedicated their time to impersonating me. Yeah, it's a pretty big compliment. Imitation is the greatest form of flattery, A4. Chemtrails, question mark, another silly hoax, says Mercury Messenger 7. I don't know what chemtrails are. I know what people say they are. Right down to the chemical composition, according to people on the internet. I'm not going to lie, I'm really quite pleased that there's like 55 odd people watching me talk to the chat. Amazing. No guests, and people are still listening. Oh, wasn't the Russian guy awesome? Shill scanner. This flobe. It is like flat and globe. Yeah, I think you're probably right, A4. I think the guy impersonating you is Joven. He has literally vanished, and then this guy's come in, and his spelling errors and typing errors are the same. So yeah, I think you're right. It is actually Joven who is impersonating you. I don't often call those things and say yeah, like you have just done, because often it's nonsense. People will accuse people of being other people all the time and have absolutely no proof whatsoever. Hi Richard, pleased to see you. Hi Rune, pleased to have you here. I think, yeah, Joven's just a bit dumb and hasn't realised that he needs to chat on his original account as well when he trolls people. He also needs to modify the way he types. But yeah, too dumb to realise. Amy Woodstock says, I'd come in if I could, Nathan. Someone get in there. God damn, I'm doing alright. Yes, it would be nice to have a guest and go on mute. You're being very respectful, Mercury 7. You don't have to feel that by being a contrarian to my point of view that you're in any way disrespectful. You're not being. The people who think chemtrails are a hoax think so because they are too busy craning their neck over their tablet. I don't really know what you mean. I think you're saying that the bit that confuses me there, Lurker the Hermit, or Lurker Hermit, is where you say the people who think that they are a hoax. I don't really know what you mean. They're obviously not a hoax. They're up in the sky. You can see him literally making them. So I don't really know what you mean. People don't look up. Oh, I see what you mean. So the people who deny that chemtrails are there aren't looking at them. Yeah, I completely agree, because they are obviously there. It was like the gateway drug for my mum, chemtrails. So I was telling her all about flat Earth, as you do. Or as I do with all of my family and the people I know, because it interests me. And my mother was totally unconvinced until I pointed up at a plane spitting out chemtrails, and as you point out, she just wasn't looking. She just hadn't noticed. No, leave the tinsel on the tree. Leave it on the tree, please. No. Hi, Christopher. Pleased to have you here. Ron Burgundy only likes people who agree with him. I don't know. I've not had any massive disagreements with Ron. Pretty sure he thinks I'm a nutter because I think the Earth is flat. Coming up on an hour. Should really do a proper link, shouldn't I? Hopefully we'll actually get a guest if I do a link. Let's do that now. So, great show so far. Thank you to Adam for joining and briefly telling us what's what. If you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a link to Super Chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. And if you would like to join the panel, there is a link in the info box below this video. With the page you are currently watching on mute, simply click on that link to join the show and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are only a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected. Number 2, if you are ejected, please do not try to rejoin the show using sock accounts. If you've not done so already, please share the show on Facebook, Skype, and Twitter. Good to see you, Flat Earth Alchemy. Nice to have you here. Nice to see you, Terry. In my experience, flat earthers are in the same category as theists. They have their mindset and there is nothing to change, nothing going to make them see sense. I will say a quick hello to Huey after I address that, but in my experience, what I see and what is conceded by both sides is that we observe a flat plane. Beyond that, I have to take people's word for it. Not about seeing sense, it's about seeing a flat plane, which is what I've seen. Anyway, let's do a proper introduction to a more important guest than me. How are you doing, Huey?
Hello, Nathan.
Good to see you. Thank God I can finally go on mute and shut up.
Good afternoon there. What time is it there?
Right, it's coming up on afternoon, 5 to 12.
It's almost midday. Yeah, I'll say good morning then.
I thought you were in Britain.
This
I thought
evening
you were
here.
British. Where are you from?
No. I am from Britain. I don't live there anymore. I live overseas now.
Ah. Right, I'm going to finally go on mute after an hour of non-stop waffle, and you can feel free to do as I have done and spout your rhetoric.
Well, I was just wondering if you realised that, you know, that your description box where the link to join should be. It's not there. Did you know that?
It is now. It may be that you just joined the show early, and then since then I've pasted it in, so it might just be if you click refresh on the watch page.
It wasn't
here.
there before.
Yeah, if you refresh.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, it should be there now.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have said that out before. Thank you for saying that, Huey, because if I should really point that out, once I've pasted it in, it doesn't suddenly magically appear for everyone watching. They need to refresh. I will remember to say that next time. Thank you.
So I was wondering that's why you got no one in today.
Probably.
I found it in the live chat on the YouTube.
Oh, you scrolled back down
feed,
the chat.
You know? Scrolls up at the beginning and the link's there as well.
Interesting that you've not been sniped.
No, well, I did get sniped once. But that was in, you know, when you stop this live feed and it goes on to the after hangout, which is off air, and someone sniped me there once.
Ah, right. I don't get it. I mean, I'd like to feel that I've got a reasonably, because I'm obviously biased, a reasonably open platform. You know, I try and keep my mouth shut when other people are on. I don't see the point in sniping people. There's no need. But there we go.
Yeah,
but there we go.
It's child. Anyway, what to talk about? How about that thing with Jaron coming out against Pastor Dean Odell? Did you hear about
that? Only in the words that you've just said. I didn't watch any video. I think Jeremy mentioned about it and said that he'd done a reasonably good job of, or he'd used some pretty old anti-Christian arguments.
Yeah, well, it seems to me what happened was after the conference, Pastor Dean Odell went on the offensive against Jaron and accused of being the Antichrist. There was a woman at the conference who got up and heckled him. What was her name? Mama Queen. You know who that is?
Yeah, Mama Queen. I got in touch with her and asked her if she'd do an interview about that because I thought in many ways it was genius.
Anyway, there's a rift going on now, and Jaron criticised Pastor Dean Odell's approach to the conference, saying that he was too heavy-handed with the religion. But then he also went on the attack against Christianity itself. So where are you on that?
On Christianity or Jaron?
Well, on the whole thing about Pastor Dean Odell's attack on Jaron and then Jaron retaliating, and you're not a Christian, right? I think I heard you say that.
No, I mean, I won't lie. There was about a period of maybe a week during Flat Earth, or since coming to Flat Earth, where I went, wow, maybe that's true, and started looking at it again, because I was raised a Christian like most people in this country. So
was I.
Yeah, so, some of it resonated with me, and I started to look into it and would say things like, I am a believer now again, because I wasn't, and then I was because of lots of things I was essentially being brainwashed within Flat Earth about Christianity.
It just seems to me a rather destructive influence on the Flat Earth community, because it's going to cause a rift, right? You're going to have the Christian Flat Earthers and the non-Christian Flat Earthers. There'll be a divide, right?
Yeah, I completely agree. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be a hard conversation for you and I, because we obviously have different opinions about it, but we've got people like the Flat Earth Network, formerly IPS, who is showing the parallels between Christianity as a control structure and heliocentrism as a control structure. And, so for me, I'm seeing those parallels and then seeing other Christians just ignore them or call IPS a Satanist, more likely. And you just think, the whole thing is so divisive in the way it's structured that it's only ever.
He accused Jaron of being the Antichrist, and he accused Mama Queen as being a witch. I think the guy's a fraud, actually.
Who, Odell?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I don't know the guy. With a lot of pastors, I'm skeptical about their motivations. I mean, my uncle's a pastor, so he's run churches, I should say, and they've been profitable. He's made his living that way. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but by the same token, when you see some of the ones on the American TV stations, I remember when I was out in the States, literally channels dedicated to Christian broadcasting and just basically fundraising. It's like one non-stop charity broadcast for this one Christian and his church. And you're like, wow, this is just a huge scam.
Well, yeah, I think that some of them get extremely wealthy, but in general, I don't think your average pastor makes a lot of money. They're just making a living.
No, I completely agree. But it's not normally those ones that would be on a stage at a conference, if you know what I mean. Right. So my local vicar who married us, she's normally talking about her collection plate and the roof need doing. It's the same with most churches in Britain. They're scraping by to pay their bills. A bit like me on YouTube. But the point being that they're not suddenly out there earning hundreds of thousands of pounds and getting pledges from people over a telethon. That isn't the case. Certainly not here. I mean, there are a couple of evangelical churches in Britain that are a little bit like that, but on the whole, it's not like an enterprise. Churches just aren't like that here, but in the States they are.
But I think Jeremy was right to speak out against him, in response to the criticism about calling him the Antichrist. But I think he should have just stayed away from the whole Christian debate and left that alone. I think it just ostracized too many people. He'll lose subs over that, I think.
Maybe. Jaron's already gone through that mill, though, so at least 18 months, probably even more, probably like 2 years ago, he explained his position on Christianity, non-believer, and the reasons why. And I think at the time, when he was probably closer to 20,000 rather than 100,000 subs, yeah, it did have a detrimental effect on his viewership. But on the whole, even the Christians are very fickle. They come back eventually because his information is good or compelling or entertaining, whatever you want to call it.
Yep. Yeah, we shall see.
What I will ask you is something
about
that the chat asked me about the position with Riley and his bet, and I'm not a betting man, so as far as the rules and regs of betting goes, I don't know. I've never bet, literally never. So not interested to me, but maybe the audience are interested. What were your thoughts and feelings on the bet with Mark and Anthony?
Well, what Riley did was he laid down the conditions of the bet. He defined what the eclipse was. Those were the conditions of the bet. And then when Mark, that's where Riley put his money down. But this is what an eclipse is, and it happens once a month. Then when Mark picked up the bet and went in to explain why Riley was wrong, Riley moved the goalposts. He redefined what an eclipse was. So he Mark won fair and square. You know, it's like if you go to a casino and you put your money down on red, they spin the wheel and it comes up black. You lose. That's it. There's no argument afterwards. Riley's trying to say, oh, well, there was a debate. No, it's not a debate, Riley. It's a bet. Those are the conditions you stipulated. That was the bet. And then when Mark went into the discussion, Riley tried to change those conditions. He moved the goalposts. That's my opinion. It's not just my opinion; those are the facts. That's what he did. You got any thoughts on that, Nathan?
Yeah, I mean, I've listened to it over and over and over again, and if I just listen to Anthony Riley's explanation in isolation, I agree with him. However, as you point out, when Mark came on yesterday and just played out black and white what the bet was, it's in that moment that the bet is formed.
Yes. Those are the conditions, those are the terms.
Yeah.
That's the bet.
The only way I could picture it in my mind, and this is not something I've ever done, but if I was to walk up to the desk at a bookie and there's a queue, and in the queue I'm discussing with the guy next to me about the eclipse and how it should work and what should happen, and then I get to the desk and then say the words that were played to me by Mark Taylor yesterday, or played to the audience by Mark Taylor, that is then the definition of the bet. It doesn't matter what's happened in the queue on the way to the desk. It also doesn't matter what happens after you leave the desk. You know what I mean?
What Riley's trying to do is trying to say, oh, well, there was a debate. Well, no, it's not a debate. It was a bet. Any debate after the bet is irrelevant. That was the bet. And then he tried to change the conditions of the bet afterwards. And it doesn't work like that. You can't do that.
On the other hand, I'm extremely pleased it happened because it meant that the minutiae, the detail of what was actually being discussed, regardless of where you want to say the goalpost removed or the bet was changed, to me is irrelevant. I don't care. I don't care if either of them get any money out of it. If one of them loses money, one of them gets. Who cares? What matters is that there was a huge amount of detail about the subject discussed on air that people got to hear. And when there's money involved, people are much more clear about what's what and how it works, and that happened as a result of that bet. So for me, it was a winner. I won. So did the audience.
Well, I don't think anyone learned anything from that. I didn't learn anything.
Yeah, you're like a lot of people I know in this arena that have got that mindset because you already know it. So to you it's like, so what? I already knew that was the case. Or let's phrase it this way: I knew he was onto a loser anyway. You could phrase it that way, but there's going to be a massive amount of people that are watching this that have no clue, none. They haven't got even the basic understanding of
but I think it's pretty common knowledge that how often eclipses occur and why they occur. It's alignment of three things and yada yada. To propose that they happen once a month, or that's just absurd. No one thinks that.
Sure, but the details of how it occurs out in space and what's relevant to us on the ground and how that works, and just talking about it makes you really conceptualize it. That's what I mean by that. And again, there are going to be people who just don't know how eclipses work. You're not
Yeah,
one of
that's
them.
true.
I'm not one of them. Mark and Anthony, we could debate whether or not they know, but that's a different story.
He's wrong as well in his original definition that if the eclipse occurs over the water, that we don't see it. Well, we do actually, because the totality would occur over the ocean. However, you'd be able to see partial eclipse elsewhere. You know, when the last one happened back in August, the totality was over America. However, there was a partial eclipse in the UK. It was seen, right? So to say because it
It
occurs
was
over the
supposed to
ocean,
be.
nobody sees it is not really true, actually.
Was that actually ever seen? Because that was a bone of contention
Yeah,
that I was
it
very
was. Yeah,
interested in.
it was.
So there's footage of the partial from the UK.
Yeah, there is.
Wow, have you got it?
It's tiny. It was so insignificant. That was Riley's thing. Oh, there's no big deal in the news about it. You know, when you watch the news, no one's talking about it. Yeah, because it's no big deal. It was just a tiny little nibble taken out of the corner of the sun. That's all it did in the UK. But it was visible. There was a partial eclipse. You could see something.
I'd love to
The
see
other
it.
thing as well. The other thing as well here is that they have what they call eclipse cruises. So if the totality is out over the ocean, they have cruises. You can go out and see it. I know someone that went on one in 2012. He went to China and took a cruise to the South China Sea. It was an eclipse cruise. So you can go on a boat and see it. So this idea that if it falls over the ocean, nobody's going to see it is not true. But that was the definition he laid down. That's the thing the money went down on, and that's the bet he has to stand by, which he clearly lost. No, he's been very dishonest about that and other things.
I'll ask my guest that was. So UFO sightings are fake? Question mark. Where do you stand on things like UFOs, Huey?
When you say UFOs, you mean alien spacecraft visiting the Earth?
I'm going to assume, just for the sake of this conversation, that was means aliens, not just the textbook not an unidentified flying object, which could be anything, but specifically aliens. I'm just for the sake of conversation.
Yeah, never been demonstrated.
Okay, how about the certainty in the heliocentric system that you have them, because there are mathematical certainty in that model.
It's a model that works. You know, that heliocentric model accounts for every observation we see. It comports with reality. And if you're talking heliocentrism versus geocentrism, that's ridiculous. Because in geocentrism, you'd have planets stopping in mid-orbit and going back the other way, retrograde motion. I mean, there's just no mechanism we know of that would account for that. That's just ridiculous. The outer planets, even in this solar system, of light. So yeah, this was settled a very long time ago. That's all a model can do, can't it? It just accounts for the things we observe. It comports to reality. If it doesn't, then you either fix the model or you throw it out. And that's what happened with geocentrism.
Sure. What I'm kind of driving at, though, is that in recent history, they've made this declaration that in the heliocentric system, it is a mathematical certainty that we have other life out there. In other words, or to phrase it differently, aliens are a mathematical certainty now. So what are your feelings on that?
There's different opinions on that.
But it's, well, yes.
This is a good likelihood, but the thing is, until they've been demonstrated to exist, then we don't know.
Well, yeah, but this is the reason I bring this up is because obviously often the debating points that are on this show are regards to the maths that creates the reality, and in this instance, the maths dictates that there is life out there. It is a mathematical certainty.
I don't think that's the case.
It is the case.
Oh, really? Where are you getting that from?
Mainstream, any news outlet, you can just Google it. Aliens are now a mathematical certainty in your reality, not mine, yours.
I've heard two. It's more probable that they are out there, given how many stars.
Sorry to interrupt. You keep using the word probable. It's not a probability. It's a certainty. It's a mathematical certainty.
That's what you can deal with. You can't provide evidence that they exist. So all you can deal with is probabilities.
Right, but this isn't me doing this. This is, like I say, this is what they're putting out into the mainstream, and based on the maths. I haven't heard anyone say it's a mathematical certainty. I will dig it out for the next show and show you and present it with someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson saying it.
That's news to me. I've never heard that.
Sure, but I can easily find one. I'm not going to do it now because there's only you and I here, and there's no one else to keep the conversation.
I'll have a look as well.
But yeah, it's take. I don't want to say take my word for it, but take my word for it. It's a mathematical certainty.
I'll look into it.
Fair enough. But I'm glad you've had the conversation the way you have, because that's the way I process it as well. You and I are on the same lines, which is to say, well, until something actually demonstrates that to be the case, I'm not going to put
So before that happens, all you've got is probabilities. I mean, even if you can say it's highly probable that they're out there, doesn't mean that they are.
Well, no, I agree in principle with what you're saying, and that's my attitude too, but that's not what we're being told. It's hard to have this conversation, obviously, with you not having seen it in print or have it had spoken to you by Neil deGrasse Tyson or whatever. But that's something I have to point out to people who are heliocentric believers. You are now, whether you like it or not, a believer in aliens. It is a mathematical certainty.
The same thing as a probability. The best you can say is highly probable. Or
that's not what they say.
That they're not out there.
I agree, but that's not what they're saying. They're not saying it's highly probable. They're saying it's mathematically certain.
I haven't heard that.
Fair enough.
I'll have to look.
Fair enough. But, we'll have this conversation again because it's extremely fascinating when you say to somebody like yourself who has the view you do, well, it's maybe probable, but until I see evidence. Unfortunately, it's a bit like other aspects of the heliocentric system which are based upon maths, which is you have to accept them now. That's how the model is. And in terms of aliens, the model dictates it.
It is the case in reality. The highly probable things don't happen, highly improbable things do. That's just the way it goes. And given the complexities of the universe and our life, it'd be surprising if that didn't occur from time to time.
Yeah, life does find a way, and is bizarre.
A mathematical certainty that there's aliens out there. No, I've never heard that. I really haven't. Sorry.
Yep. I wouldn't have said it 4 or 5 times, knowing that somebody would completely destroy my credibility.
Show me your source for that, because that's something I've never heard.
I will do. I'll dig it out I'll dig out a nice soundbite of someone like Bill Nye or Neil deGrasse actually saying it, and I'll play it out on the next show.
Yeah, but those guys are just really popularizing science.
Maybe
they're not they're not the scientists. Those guys aren't at the cutting edge. They're not the ones out there doing the science. They're TV celebs.
Okay, I mean, the first time I read this was in the New Scientist, probably in about 2010. That was the first time I read it in print. And since then, it's been popularised and put into the
I
mainstream
don't
media.
see how you can make a mathematical certainty out of a probability. Because all you can say is whether it's probable or not. That's it. You can't do any more than that.
Right.
So if there is someone claiming it's a mathematical certainty, I'd like to see what their support for that is, because I never heard that.
Fair enough.
You know, there was a time when, have you heard of the black swan argument?
No, that's a new one on me.
There was a time when people in Europe didn't believe that black swans existed. They said there's no such thing as a black swan, right? To the degree that if they would use it as a euphemism, that's a black swan. In other words, that's impossible. They would call it a black swan until their surprise, they was discovered in the 1700s by Dutch explorers in Western Australia. So it turns out that black swans did exist, but up until then, it was considered an impossibility, but it wasn't. They really did exist. So before they were discovered, if you said black swans exist, you'd be laughed at. And if you say black swans don't exist, you'd be wrong, because they did. You see the problem?
I do. Fascinating.
So the rational thing to do is say, well, there's no evidence of black swans existing. We don't know whether they might. We just don't know. We haven't found any yet. And until somebody provides evidence they do exist, then you can't justify the claim that they do. That's how rationality and critical thinking works. Yeah, and it turned out they did. There were some Dutch explorers claimed to have seen them. That was the first instance. Oh, well, we were in Western Australia, these Dutch explorers back in the day when Australia has just been discovered, and we saw black swans. Well, okay, that's a bit anecdotal. Maybe they've been smoking weed on the deck and they thought they saw black swans. And then the next thing that happened was somebody captured them and brought them back to Europe and said, look, there's a black swan. There you go, see for yourself. Now it's confirmed. But until that happens, you can't say they do exist or they don't exist. Do you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I do.
Same with aliens. You just don't know. Personally, I think it's highly probable that there may well be intelligent life out there somewhere. But just because it's highly probable doesn't mean that they do. It's also possible that they don't. We just don't know. And so until we have evidence of intelligent life on another planet in another galaxy somewhere, we just don't know. That's the conclusion. We don't know. If you can hear that chime, that's our washing machine. It plays a tune when it's done. Is there any life in the live chat, Nathan?
Is there any life in the live chat? Yeah, it's just my kids being noisy. That's why I've kept myself on mute. That was all.
Who's in the live chat? Anyone we know?
Yeah, the usual suspects. I'll say a few shout outs to people who I haven't done already. So, Tam Co, pleased to see you. Very pleased to have you here. Curved Water, very pleased to have you here as well. So scroll back, see who else is in there. Or maybe not.
Oh, Curve, my friend. Come on in, buddy. You can talk to me. Yeah, so Leamington Spa, eh? It's nice out there, isn't it?
It is plush. Very nice.
Mm.
Like a seaside town, but not by the sea.
Yeah, it is nice. You ever heard of Watford?
Yeah, I used to be a rep. I've travelled all over the UK.
That's where I'm from.
Yeah, Watford's nice.
Born and bred. It's okay. It's convenient because it's right there on the M25 and there's a good rail link. You know, Euston is like 20 minutes away by train, so it's well connected. It's a little suburb. There's not much going on there really, but it's all right. Anyway, that's where I was born and bred.
I'm from Birmingham originally.
Sorry.
Birmingham.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I was born and raised. In a predominantly Muslim area. So where I was when I grew up, I was in the minority.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
So the Chinese, black and white communities were absolutely in the minority. I think the Chinese was the smallest, followed by white, followed by black. So there was more black people in my community than there were white. And but they were only, maybe 10 or 12% of the population in that area, and the rest of it was 70% Muslim. Been joined by Curved Water. Finally,
Here's the man.
I can go on mute. Thank God you're here. Megatron be praised.
Barely hear him.
Coming through.
Can you push his gain up there, Nathan? He's a bit quiet.
Yeah, will do. I think he might have an issue. He's normally not that quiet.
How about now? Any better?
Yeah, it's still very quiet.
I don't want to get too loud. How's that?
Yeah, that's better.
I've whacked you
Alright,
up to maximum.
cool.
That seems okay now. Curved, we can hear you.
What's going on, everyone?
Yeah, good morning, Curves.
Yeah, morning.
Bright and early, rise and shine, eh?
A little late this morning, but late for what? Has there been other people in the hangout?
No.
I started watching about 15 minutes ago, maybe is when I first caught it. Looking.
We had Adam, but he got immediately sniped out. So the only flat earther that you could potentially argue with has been sniped out.
Oh, speaking of Adam, now that I don't have to type it out, I just want to explain very quickly to Adam my point that he's either being intentionally obtuse about, or just trying to deflect, or genuinely doesn't get it. It doesn't matter. Adam, you often whine about people who aren't even flat earthers are here, in the debate, blah, 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 blah. This is a long time thing with you. You always wanted it to be like echo chamber, flat earthers only, and you still whine about it to this day. People who aren't even flat earthers are here, blah, blah, blah. Adam, you are not a flat earther. That is the point. Don't be so hypocritical. You are not a flat earther by your own admission. You don't know the shape, you say? Okay, fine. Don't know it if you choose to not know it. But don't whine about people who aren't even flat earthers. You are not a flat earther.
Been joined by Adam. Pleased to have you here.
No, that's not Adam.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
not Adam. No, Adam.
Yeah.
All of your sock accounts are named A4. You said. I don't
That
know
I
who
use
this
on
John,
YouTube.
I don't know who this
That I
John
use on
Smith
YouTube.
is.
We want to go into like
You're
this type
on
of
YouTube,
conversation
dude. You're on YouTube,
on
dude.
YouTube. Yeah, this is a Google Hangout.
Yeah, and it's on YouTube, dude.
This is a Google Hangout.
See, you're so easy. You're so easy
This is a Google Hangout.
because you're so
This is
blatantly dishonest. You just say whatever you have to say at the time to try to make yourself, look good. That's it, and
I
you
just come
kill
on to,
yourself all the
like,
time.
talk about what claims you're making at the start. I'm not a flat earther, but I've debated for the flat earth the whole time that I've been here.
That makes a lot of sense, Adam.
Yeah, I've debated for the flat earth side. So
Yeah.
like when the discussion is going.
So why do you debate for something you don't believe?
I believe that I don't know the true shape. Doesn't mean it's
Right.
not
So why
flat.
do you debate for flat Earth, Adam, if you don't even believe it's flat?
Because the flat earthers are more open-minded. They're the ones that have woken up to the deceit. So they're on the same trail that I was on until
It doesn't matter.
Eventually they'll come to a point where they realize that the ball earth isn't proven and neither is the flat earth. So there is no real model for the flat earth. There is no real legitimate model for the ball earth. So it's just hearsay at this present time. So if we're going to be completely honest,
Right.
I would say that there is, the shape is unknown at this present time.
So argue for an unknown shape being the truth. That, Adam, you've already lost this. You are disingenuous. You've already lost this. The best thing you could do is change the topic. What media company do you work for, Adam?
I don't work for any media company.
I think you do. How's that?
Any media.
I think you do. I can't prove it.
That's your prerogative.
I'm not saying I know you do. I'm saying I think you do. Why?
Yeah, that's your prerogative.
No.
You're entitled to have your own beliefs.
Okay. Am I entitled to state emphatically that you are a media shill?
Hello, Nathan.
That's just your opinion.
Alex,
Really.
No, am I entitled to state emphatic? Oh, go ahead, do Alex.
I've done him. It's all good.
Oh, did you hear that, Alex?
Yeah, I've been listening. I just didn't want to interrupt.
You can date whatever you like. Doesn't make it fact. It's just like you stating that the Earth is a globe. Doesn't make it fact.
Okay, well, you get something here, Adam. See, you state all kinds of things that are whatever you like with no evidence, no proof whatsoever. You just make a bunch of wild claims and you run around acting as though your claim is evidence of it being true. That's why nobody pays attention to you.
I don't say evident like this.
You're always going to be outside on the fringe.
I've explained this to Nathan several times. Is I use the word proof. I don't use evidence, and I've said I don't have evidence that these people are shills. What I have is proof, and proof is to compel the mind to assert something as true.
You are so convoluted. This is hilarious.
So, I do is I will
Alex,
give my opinion on the topic, which is shills, or that's what you're trying to infer anyway. When I talk about people being shills or paid agents and whatnot, I give my opinion on the topic, and if other people assert that to be true, what I've said, well, I've given my proof. I don't have any evidence for that. I can't link them back to a media company or anything like that. I have no actual evidence of it, and I've said that. I don't have any evidence of this, but I have proof, which is a compelling argument for my opinion.
You don't need much rope at all.
Because the thing is, if you call people shills, Adam, and they're not shills, and you call everyone it, then everyone will stop believing you because everyone knows themselves.
I haven't called everybody a shill. That's just.
I'm just saying, when you call a lot of people it, do you know what I mean? Different people.
Yeah, I do. I've called a lot of people. Yeah, I'd agree. I've called a lot of people that have shown signs of what I would say shilling activity.
Like you.
And what activity would that be?
People showing signs of shilling activity, like you.
But what activity would that be? Can you elaborate on what activity you're trying to infer that I'm involved in?
Your overall behavior.
Which would infer what?
You're always just around to disrupt. You never discuss facts of the matter. You're always just hurling accusations at everybody. When anybody confronts you about your own behavior, you call them a shill. You try to argue illogically. You dig yourself holes. You do what you do.
If people want to accuse,
why you're basically a laughing stock around here to both sides.
Jill's not one of the things that I do. I call people based on their actions, and their actions aren't just towards me. So it's not like I've just sat there and because of our conversation here, I would just turn around and say, you're a shill. No, I think that people like you, Curved Water, you're a shill because you don't show your face. You hide behind these sock accounts. You probably use multiple sock accounts.
What sock accounts do I have, Adam?
And
you don't have evidence or proof. You have neither.
You're trying to push this rhetoric that would make people look into companies like NASA and see. the trustworthy source of information.
Adam, anybody that knows me knows that I don't like sit around being an apologist for NASA.
You're trying to promote, you're trying to promote
on here.
Who is it?
I say through NASA. It doesn't matter.
Whatever little clique or group that you're involved in.
I don't use NASA.
These people. And how do I know that you don't have any monetary?
It doesn't matter how do you know whether I do or not. You need to know that I do in order to accuse me of it.
No, I can accuse you.
I can say that your behavior
I want to accuse you of.
I can say your behavior is silly.
That's just you're trying to say that I can't use my own words in the way that I see fit. That, well, sorry to say, mate, you're not going to be able to control me. You have no control over me.
You can say whatever you want, Adam. I'm pointing out the dishonesty in your use.
Sorry about that swear. If I wanted to call him a poo sniffer, then I'm allowed to do so. That's my own prerogative. I can do whatever I like, and if you don't like it, that's up to you. I'm sorry that I hurt your sensitive feelings.
This isn't about whether I like it or not, Adam. It's about you exposing your own dishonesty.
I mean, the thing is, you're free to do what you want, obviously. Do you know what I mean? But it doesn't, these things sort of will come back on you. So when, you're worried about, say, people are sniping you, I don't know what's happening there.
I didn't really care.
Yeah, but that could be to do because of the things you've done. So you've annoyed someone and done that. And, it's just easier in life to just try your hardest to just get on with people. That's all I'd say. I'm not trying to have a go. You know what I mean? I'm just saying,
I don't see the logic in that. I get sniped because of something I've done previously, so I should just accept it, or
no. I'm saying when you take the attitude of I can say and do what I want to anyone, and there's nothing anyone can do about it, which is kind of true in a way, especially on the internet. Do you know what I mean? But it doesn't mean that you should do it. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes we lose our tempers and stuff, but that shouldn't be a default position. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, and I'm not trying to say that I will do it. I'm just saying I have every right to do it. That's my prerogative. If I wanted to do whatever, if I wanted to say whatever I wanted to say, that's my prerogative. That's what I can do.
It is. Yeah,
I'm a human being, and nobody else can stop me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Doesn't mean I'm going to actually.
They can, but it's not right. Yeah, you have the right to say whatever you want.
Yeah. Exactly, and just as an example, I haven't called you a shill, Cat Earth. I've heard you come onto these shows and do whatever you want, and you use this thing where you say the Earth is a cat, and I find that funny. I haven't called you a shill or anything like that. You know what I mean? I think that you're interested in the topic, you're interested in flat Earth, you're interested in trying to find out if there's any information within this that may be credible. You know what I mean? That's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in finding out if NASA is completely fraudulent or if there's just sections of it that are fraudulent or what it may be. You know what I mean? And then does that entail that the true shape of the Earth has been hidden from us?
Right, yeah.
That's what and then Curved Water wants to say that, oh, you're not a flat earther. Well, no, I'm interested in the true shape of the Earth because I don't believe it's a globe. So you're trying to say
you don't have to be a flat earther, Adam. But you shouldn't run around whining about people who aren't even flat earthers are in here in the discussion.
No, I say that
you argue against yourself all the time.
I'll let you go. I say that ball earthers waste a lot of their time coming to shows like this to argue and call people names, and they don't take anything that the other person says seriously or even look into it. They ridicule people instead of trying to take on somebody else's said and look
how are
into
you
it.
Different from what you just complained about? How are you different from what you just complained about? I can't hear Nathan.
I look into the things that people say, whether it be in the chat or on the show. I Google the things, and even if it's a ball earther, if something intriguing they've said sounds legitimate or truthful, then I will look into it and I'll see if it has any validity.
Have you looked into evidence versus proof?
Yeah, evidence is factual statements, true and false. Proof is to compel the mind to assert something is true. I looked into that a long time.
For that. Where are you getting this from? I'm curious.
This is the definitions of the words.
I'd like to see it. Where would you come up with that?
Go to Google.
Use of proof?
Go write the word in proof and then write definition next to it, and then you'll get. If not the exact statement that I just made, a very similar statement, a compelling argument that would assert the mind to accept something is true.
Well, this
proof
is what I'm reading.
is
Proof.
true and false statements. So proof.
All right, stop.
Proof
Hey,
doesn't.
Adam, I'm gonna
proof doesn't
read
have
some
to be true.
definitions here and see if I can
That's the
find what you
difference.
claim.
Proof doesn't have to be true. Proof is a compelling argument that
Where do you find
tells
this?
the mind to assert something as true. And that's what a lot of people, a lot of ball earthers have used that shamanery trick. That's what it is.
Here you go. This is probably what you're using.
Trick. It's
No,
saying
that's you, Adam.
You're using
That's
a whole
you.
statement. You're able to compel the mind to assert it's true. Well, then you're being a shaman. You're using something that's false and then compelling somebody to believe that it's true because you have a compelling argument to support your claims.
You're misusing this. Here you go. I think this is probably the one you're going with, and you're leaving out key parts. In Merriam-Webster.com, the dictionary says definition of proof. 1A is the cogency of evidence that compels acceptance by the mind of a truth or a fact. B, the process or an instance of establishing the validity of a statement, especially by derivation from other statements in accordance with principles of reasoning. Now, you have really simplified something that compels the mind to believe it. Okay? No, the cogency of evidence, something you say you don't have by your own admission. You don't have evidence, you have proof. Without evidence, you don't have proof, Adam.
I just want to say first hello to Jamie, and then just to add this to the mix, which is the definition of cogency. So cogency is the quality of being clear, logical, and convincing, and then in addition, lucidity.
But without evidence, you don't have proof. He says he has no evidence; he has proof. He's backwards. This is simple. I'm not going to argue it anymore. The point's been made. A4 is twisting the definition and shortening it.
You can twist all you like, but you should
use it the way he wants to. He says he doesn't have evidence.
Intellectual that you are.
I'm done talking about this.
That something is true. That is proof. A compelling argument that compels. Compelling argument that would the mind would assert it's true. It doesn't have to have evidence with it. If it's convincing enough, then evidence isn't needed.
All right, so anybody that looks up the definition of proof and looks through it, whether it's mathematical proof or otherwise, of course, mathematical proof is different from your normal everyday proof, like when you're dealing with, court or just trying to prove other things in your daily life or whatever. But anybody can look through this and see what Adam has done and how he's twisting it and how he's turned this into a compelling argument, which a compelling argument need not have any facts or evidence. You can completely make up a compelling argument. Compelling is subjective.
Yep.
So if you make up lies that are effective, you have effectively made a compelling argument with no evidence or facts.
Yeah, that's right.
That's not proof. That's not proof.
That's proof, and
that's conning someone into believing your lies.
No, why people believe that the Earth is a ball because they have been given these proofs. All right, and they're not evidence. They're not true factual. The statements.
Adam, what proofs have I been given that caused me to believe the globe?
Believe true. These compelling arguments. When you ask any normal person, listen. When you ask any everyday person why they think why they think the Earth is a globe, they'll say, "Well, there's curvature. You can see curvature."
You just keep going on and
Let's go
on and
out
on.
together and let's look on the horizon, and you tell me where we can see curvature. All right, because they've been taught these things, they believe it. All right,
You're repeating
they've been shown
because you
proof,
believe it that you don't even know.
Read proofs. They've been taught these proofs that aren't actual fact.
Filibuster. Adam, what have I been given that causes me to believe the globe?
I'm not in your shoes, so I would.
Then why did you make that claim against me?
He
You
did just
stated
literally
that
do that, Kurt,
I
though. He just
have
said
been
about
given these reasons why I. What?
He just said that. He just
I
explained
said,
that we are told as
I
children
said,
that boats go over
yeah.
the
I
curve
didn't
of
say
the
you,
earth.
but personally, sorry, Nathan. I didn't say him personally. I said ask any normal everyday person.
Well, you said
All right,
me.
you're not a normal everyday
You
person. Normal everyday people
specifically
go
said
out
you
and do 9 to 5 jobs.
speaking to me,
All right, they
and
go
you
do
referred
like
to
hard
me.
labor or whatever
No,
it may
but you
be.
see,
They
yeah,
do
I think as well,
secretary
Adam.
work.
Like, I actually agree with you on that point. Like, I definitely agree with you on that point. That like you ask that everyday person on the street. I think most, like I'd say, like probably like 70. I'm just guessing. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people would probably be. You're right. They don't really know why it's a globe. They just because they've been told, sort of thing. Like and that's why it's easy for people to fall for the flat Earth. But that's where I say the shaman sort of thing you're talking about comes in. Is really on these flat Earth videos because a lot of them, even
I'm not.
Eric Jabay
I'm not
especially, so many debunked things that
yeah,
just
I'm
aren't
not saying
true.
that. Yeah, I'm not saying that it doesn't work both ways. I'm not saying, and that's why I've stepped back after doing extensive research for years on this topic. I've come to the conclusion, well, I don't know the true shape. No one's been far enough away to verify what shape it is. And if they have been far enough away, the companies that do know, they're not letting us actually have that raw material, that raw data. It's being manipulated, and it's for their own benefit.
Right. But I just think like there's a lot of misinformation being told on these flat Earth videos because of the exact point you're saying that not everyone does know, but I think if people really do have an open mind, they'll see that possible if you actually look into it properly, and then you can figure it out for yourself without having to rely on. I mean, you have to rely on certain things, like unless you're going to do all the observations yourself, you have to rely on the fact that these observations are being done. But if they were incorrect, then why aren't flat earthers proving them incorrect? That's my argument for people who say I haven't like done my own time lapses of the southern stars and things like that.
But that's what this show's for. That's precisely the point in this show, though,
Yeah.
isn't it?
So anyone could come on, and if I'm wrong about these observations that I make, and just show me a video proving me wrong, and then then I'd actually take it seriously. I would. I mean, I was looking for these, things when I was a flat earther a lot. I was looking for these things that, explained everything, but you just can't find it. And then eventually you just have to stop being stubborn and realize it's a geometric impossibility. That's even a word. I don't know.
Not necessarily.
You've all danced over Adam's point, though. So, Adam's, we've started this
You've been manipulated.
with you being asked, Adam, what has deceived us? And he's given a specific example of boats going over the curve, which we are taught as children. So, have you gone out?
You can't see
Alex, what I'm getting at is, have you gone out, Alex, and found the curve?
I referred to everyday people going out, like just asking a normal everyday person why they believe we live on a globe. And one of the main answers that I get when I do ask them why they believe on a globe is they say, you can see the curvature. That's what they say. You can see the curvature. And then I say, all right, let's go outside and you show me the curvature, like point it out to me, and so then I can see what you're actually talking about. Once they go out and they try to find it, they realize that they cannot see the curvature. So they've been believing this false belief for so long that they actually believe it now.
Sorry, my mic went off. Sorry, this is one of the problems I have, though. This is exactly one of the issues I have with because you can see curvature. This is why we argue about atmospheric lensing and refraction and stuff to try and argue away what we're seeing as curvature. I mean, Anthony came on the other day with a boat that went over the curve. So this is one of the things that annoyed me about coming out of flat Earth is that you make this argument, oh look, you can zoom in on boats, but only boats that haven't gone over the curvature and that are just out of your eyesight because you can't resolve such a small image. But you zoom in on that and you can see a boat, right? But you can also see boats going over the curvature. You can see cityscapes, Blackpool Tower, things like this.
What you're saying is you can see the effect of curvature, all right? What I'm saying is people think they can actually see curvature. There's a whole different, that's different. There's a big difference there. They think that they can see like a curve. They think that they can see a curve. And even on a ball, that's not logical. That's not true.
You can see the obstruction. You can't necessarily see the curve on the horizon.
I just want to get this in there. That is correct. That's what Anthony Riley's shown. So he's shown the yellow sections of these turbines appearing to go over the curvature. But he has other footage of exactly the same vantage point showing it not displaying that. So he has something that shows.
And
we talk about a massive boat as well. Remember, he's like this
I've
massive.
seen
boat.
all of this footage. I mean, I've seen all of it, and what he is.
So you can see, but what I'm saying is, you say you can't see a curvature, but you can't. Sorry, Adam. So I just quickly, you're saying I can't see a curvature, but you can. You can explain it away and say, "Oh, look, a different refraction." But you can see it. There is curvature there.
You're talking about
want to
different,
make an
you're talking
argument
at cross
that it's
purposes.
caused by...
You are talking at cross purposes. If you look at Curve Water's picture, right? If you had a boat on that horizon in the middle of the frame, right in the center of the frame where the sun meets the ocean, and it had gone over what you call curvature, but co-opt and then explain away as obstruction. What Adam's describing is the curvature of that sun. So people believe they can go out. I had it with Vice on the first interview. She looked out at the horizon at ground level and said she could see curvature. Literally, she thought the ground ahead of her was literally curved.
Yeah, but that's a different issue. You said earlier about the boats. That's what I'm saying is you can see boats go over curvature. So when you say you can't, well, you can. We saw a video of it the other day.
But you've already put the caveat in, though. You've already put the caveat in.
You're correct. You can't
put in the caveat that's obstruction. That's not a curve. That's seeing something vanish behind an obstruction.
What you're trying to describe, Curve, is you're trying to describe the appearance.
I'm not even talking, Adam.
I mean, sorry, Cat Earth, sorry. You're talking about the appearance, all right, of an effect that may be because of curvature. But then there's also other explanations. So you can't just attribute. You can't.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm willing to let you have your explanations. What I don't like is when people make the statement you can't see it, because you can see it. You've just got different explanations for it. Because
give a valid
is when they zoom in on a boat which hasn't gone over what we call the curvature. So they're just zooming in on a boat. Yeah, and that's dishonest.
If there's different explanations for that, like we're saying, like,
fair enough.
That flat earthers say that it's because of a different explanation, and ball earthers say it's because of a curvature.
Yeah.
So we can say that it's not because of curvature; it's because of X, Y, or Z. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But when we're talking about who's being more dishonest here, this is my point, because the videos you'll see on the flat Earth videos, the boats haven't even gone over what we call the curvature, so they're being dishonest at that point. They're going, look, we can just zoom in. You know, they'd have you believe you can just keep zooming in forever. You know, and bring.
Well, if you had other optics to keep on zooming in, the device that you're using is able to account for the interference that may occur over distance and over time, then maybe you can see.
Yeah. But they're not saying that, and they're not really showing it. They're misrepresenting it. Do you know what I mean? And they're trying to avoid that point all the time.
I don't agree with you, Alex.
I can understand what they're trying to infer.
Yeah. I just think things like that are very, they're slimy, really.
No. The argument you're making is at the extremes of zoom. So you're saying, well, obviously it's still there because look, it's there. You've zoomed in on it. But what we've been taught is you go to the beach and with your eyes, you watch the boat go over the curve. That's what we're told based on the maths. And then we're saying, hold on. Let me just get to the hold on, Alex. Let me just get to the end of this. So we're told, I know you've heard it. I know we've all heard it. I appreciate that. So we're told that with our eyes, we see the boat go over the curvature based on the maths, 8 inches per mile squared. Then we are saying at that stage, you pick up a zoom camera with a 2 times optical zoom and zoom in, and what do you know? It comes back. It's not gone over the curvature. And then what do you know? With your 2 times zoom, eventually it goes out of frame and appears to go over the curvature. Then you pick up a pair of binoculars.
No, they never say that second bit. If they said
I'm saying it right now, Alex. I'm saying it now. Alex,
you wouldn't be able to get away with it, would you?
I'm trying to say it. You just keep talking over me. I'm saying it. So you've picked up your 2 times photographic camera, zoomed in and brought it back. Then you watch it disappear again. So you pick up a pair of binoculars with a 10 times optical zoom, and what do you know? It hasn't gone over the curve. You bring it back in again. That's not true.
So you're saying you can keep zooming in even though it's gone over curvature?
Yes.
It hasn't gone over.
But yes. At some point.
Hold on, Alex. You've asked a question. Now let me answer it. Yes, you can keep zooming in until it reaches the point that it goes beyond atmospheric interference.
Atmospheric, but that's the argument, isn't it, Nathan? Because that's where the actual curvature is. That's
so the curvature doesn't match.
That's where the actual obstruction.
So you're saying the curvature doesn't match what we've been taught.
You can't prove that because
that's what the maths and everything says. So you're misrepresenting where we're saying the actual obstruction is.
8
No, that's where the
inches per
dishonesty
mile
comes on the
squared.
side.
You're saying that's where things start disappearing. Yeah, and an interesting point, if you've done these observations, Nathan, is that you'll notice that when the object shrinks out of your view so that you can't see it, it doesn't shrink from the bottom up, does it? You know, it's always shrinking, and you can bring it back, and it's shrinking. It's only when it gets to the obstruction that this magical bottom up appears. Because you say atmospheric conditions, it's obviously just going over the curvature.
Because the optics you're using they're not calibrated to deal with that type of interference.
But if we're talking about perspective, right? Everything should be just like traveling up all the time.
Optics now. You're talking about using a device that was made by humans that hasn't been doesn't have the
magnification.
Well, it's not able to account for the interference from in that distance.
Why are they able to bring back the top but not the bottom? And the bottom never comes back into view when you zoom in. Only the visible portion.
Interference. Because of the interference.
Interference
There's less interference the higher something is. The higher something is above the, say, water, the less interference there would be. The lower, like the lower portion would be. Beg your pardon? Well, with your eyes. You're not using your eyes, are you? You're using optics. What are you talking about? The optics with your eyes?
Can we see the evidence of what you're claiming occurs? No.
Yes,
we do not.
Yeah, so if I can just attempt to, so as you're looking out across the water, if you've been on a boat, you appreciate that as a wave crashes down, it creates a certain amount of water droplets in the air above the waves, above the waterline. The further you look out, the more that those droplets of air that have splashed up into the air, the more of them are in front of you. Simple as that. So you've got more stuff blocking your view of the bottom of the boat because there's waves splashing against it. And they don't just reach the tippy top of the wave point. They splash down and create other crap in the air that blocks your view. And the further you go out, the more of that there is. Simple.
Yeah, you are.
But if you had a device that was able to see a longer distance, you'd be able to prove your claims that these boats go over the horizon and whatnot. They go over a curve, but you don't have that.
Well, no, we do. We do actually have footage of it. You are the one who doesn't have the proof that there's atmospheric conditions forcing it underneath the horizon point. I don't think you can even really picture what this would look like. The world would look like if it was flat.
Well, we've got about 2 minutes left before we round out this stream.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, cool. You wouldn't.
But you're trying to argue these bunk
saying this interference. Yet we can see city skylines even further away.
Argument that you should be able to see forever, but you don't have the optics for that.
Well, no, but I mean, you're saying we can see further than the boat. You saying we can't see further than the boat on the horizon?
Hypothetically, all right. Even on a board, you can't see forever. So why do you expect to see forever on a flat plane?
So Adam, if the boat is on the horizon where we say is the horizon, you're not claiming that that's the end of our vision, are you? We can see way further than that horizon line, that obstruct what we call the horizon line. I mean, obviously, you realise we can see way further than. Well, a city behind it. If there's a city behind the boat,
that's the city is a lot.
Yeah, because the city is a lot taller, right?
That's the furthest that you can see behind it. Is the city behind it?
Okay, so we can see as far as a city, so we can see a lot further than that boat. So I mean, what's the point being made here? It's nothing to do with not being able to see, and the city is even more obstructed because it's even further away.
It's even more. There's even more interference.
Yeah, I mean, the city should be in the sky. It should be like floating in the sky if the Earth was flat, pretty much.
No, you're trying to make it out like it's concave now.
No, I'm not. It's just that's how it would be if it was flat. I mean, you could model this in a 3D program and see this if you just model it as flat in scale. I mean, things don't curve down.
Talking about reality.
I'm just talking about perspective, man. I'm just talking about general. You can draw this with paper
in 2D.
You can't
see that. You're trying to say from Australia, I should see America, but I can't.
No, I'm not saying you can't. Yeah, no, I'm saying yeah, that's obviously true.
I can't use a telescope that apparently.
And with that, I am going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you, most importantly, to the audience who have joined us on this live stream. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the panel for making this debate possible. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.